For almost 30 years after World War II had ended, one man continued fighting a war the rest of the world had already moved on from. His name was Hiro Onoda, a Japanese intelligence officer stationed on a remote island in the Philippines. But this is not simply a story about a soldier refusing to surrender. It's a story about loyalty, honor, delusion, and the extraordinary human ability to cling to a belief even when the entire world says otherwise. Our story begins in late 1944. Japan is losing the war, the Allies are tightening their grip on the Pacific, and a young officer named Onoda receives a mission: hold Lubang Island, conduct guerrilla warfare, and never surrender. Those were his orders, and he would follow them more faithfully than anyone could have imagined. When American forces eventually took the island, most Japanese soldiers were killed or surrendered. But not Onoda. Along with a few surviving comrades, he retreated deeper into the jungle. They believed the war was still raging, and every attempt to convince them otherwise was dismissed as enemy propaganda. Leaflets dropped from planes? Fake. Newspapers left on trails? Fake. Family letters broadcast through loudspeakers? Enemy tricks. Even fellow soldiers pleading with them to come home? Impossible. Onoda refused to accept that Japan had surrendered. Over the years, the small group dwindled. One by one, his companions died in shootouts with local police. Yet Onoda survived, always hiding, always watching, always waiting for the day Japan would call him back to service. For the people living on the island, Onoda became a ghost story, a mysterious soldier in the jungle, a man who would raid farms, steal food, and occasionally engage in firefights, still believing he was fighting a global war that no longer existed. For decades, search teams tried to find him. None succeeded. And then in 1974, a young Japanese traveler named Norio Suzuki decided to search for three things: a panda, a yeti, and Lieutenant Onoda. Amazingly, he found the last one. Suzuki approached Onoda carefully, telling him the truth. The war had been over for nearly 30 years, but Onoda still refused to surrender, not without orders from his commanding officer. So Suzuki returned to Japan and incredibly found Onoda's former commander, now an elderly man working in a bookstore. The government flew him to Lubang Island. Wearing his old uniform, he formally relieved Onoda of duty. Only then did Hiro Onoda finally lay down his rifle. He returned to Japan a national symbol, controversial, admired by some, criticized by others. Many saw him as a man of unwavering loyalty. Others saw him as a tragic product of a fanatical era. But whatever you believe, Onoda's story reveals something deeper about the human mind. We do not surrender beliefs easily, even when the world changes around us. And sometimes letting go of a mission can be harder than fighting the war itself.